family of a missing teen girl pushes for answers. Severe weather leads to record-breaking insurance claims in Saskatchewan. And after much debate, Saskatoon's public art policy is here to stay.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. Filling in for Chantel, I'm Laura Woodward. We begin tonight in Prince Albert, where the family of a missing 14-year-old girl is pushing for answers. Jasmine Pelche has the latest on the investigation.
The mother of a missing teen is asking for any bit of information that could help find her daughter.
In 7 days, on August 19, Pageant will be turning 15 years old. She should be at home with us celebrating her birthday.
14-year-old Peyton Flett was reported missing June 30th, though family began searching earlier. Prince Albert police believe she was last seen between June 16th and 17th in the area of John Diefenbaker School and later in the area of Marquis Road and Central Avenue. She is described as around 5'4" and 115 pounds and was last seen in Christmas pajama pants.
Search activity will continue to be considered and conducted based upon the information and evidence developed through the investigation.
Major crimes investigators are involved due to Peyton's age and the amount of time that has passed since she went missing. Police are asking anyone with information to come forward, even if it may seem insignificant. Anyone with information can reach out to the Prince Albert Grand Council, Crime Stoppers, or Prince Albert Police.
There are different ways to share what information you may know, and that may be through the Prince Albert Grand Council if that is more comfortable.
Peyton's mother shared a message for her daughter.
You are not in any trouble. You just need to hear your voice. We just need to know you are safe. Please come home or go to a safe place and call us or the police.
With the renewed call for information, family continues to hope for Peyton's safety. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Prince Albert.
To Regina now, where police have deemed a death investigation a double homicide with 2 women facing murder charges. The investigation began Tuesday morning when police were called about reports 2 people had been shot in the 1100 block of Elphinstone Street. Upon arrival, police found the bodies of a 42-year-old woman and a 37-year-old man. Police say 19-year-old Patricia Stevenson fled the scene and tried to hide from police in a nearby yard. She was taken into custody with the help from the K-9 unit. A second person, 42-year-old Rose Sparvier, has also been arrested. The women have been charged with second-degree murder. Stars Air Ambulance touched down in Warman twice yesterday. The Warman Fire Department says 2 separate cardiac arrest calls came in yesterday afternoon, about 2 hours apart from each other. In both cases, Medivy arrived and called for assistance from Stars. The chopper landed at the intersection of Miller Street and Casper Crescent, as well as on Clubhouse Drive East. Medivy also told CTV News that the construction on Wanuskewin Road did not impact the ground ambulance response in the area. 3 plastic rock sculptures were at the center of a heated debate at City Council today. CTV's Keenan Sorokon now on the decision on funding public art.
Saskatoon's public art policy is here to stay. Rather than eliminate tying a portion of large capital projects to public art, Council opted to review and tweak the policy instead.
Don't let one controversial project define a policy that has helped shape Saskatoon's public spaces for more than a decade.
Some city projects costing $5 million or more have up to 1% of the budget, or a maximum of $500,000 dedicated to public art. In this case, it was $300,000 of a $37 million budget to build a new recycling facility at the landfill that turned into these rocks made from recycled plastic.
We had a wedding out at Forestry Farm, and I saw all these people getting these wedding pictures taken around the modern Erratix rock because they thought it was really cool.
City Council got to hear from one of the Calgary artists who built the rocks over 5,500 hours. He said 95% of the materials and much of the team was from Saskatchewan. He spoke of the meaning of the sculptures volunteers and the hours spent with cultural groups, experts, and academics to come up with something uniquely fitting for Saskatoon.
As a city, when you purchase a public art project, if you care for it, it's actually an asset.
But much of that was lost in the rollout as the price tag dominated discussion over the last 2 weeks.
I think if we'd have had appropriate communication, we might not be here today.
There's a lot of feedback about how that was communicated and what we did around that, and that's something we will definitely reflect on.
Randy Donauer says of the 6 streams of funding for public art, this one was used only once since it began in 2015, but that will change with big spending on the horizon, like BRT and a new leisure center.
We have many large, as in hundreds of millions of dollars, capital projects coming forward, and I don't want to do this again every couple of years.
Administration is set to review the policy and improve communication of these art installations moving forward. Keenan Sorakan, CTV News, Saskatoon.
You know, Jeff, last time I filled in for weather, the skies were sunny, the birds were chirping, the children were laughing.
Well, that's because you're a ray of sunshine, and I'm a bit of a Debbie Downer.
Yeah. It's just a gray cloud covering us this past week.
That's right. Herc Rock, I can't remember. There was a cartoon character. I could not remember the name I think it was in Teenage Pebbles and Bam Bam. I'll look it up. Anyhow, we've got ourselves these spotty showers over much of Alberta and Saskatchewan, but down in southern areas, a lot more intense weather. Some parts of Alberta could see 50 to 80 millimeters of rain. It's raining in Lethbridge right now and expected to rain well into Thursday. So some rainy conditions there, and then certainly impacting parts of southern Saskatchewan as well. And we'll have more on the rain or the lack thereof later on.
A series of severe storms has caused significant damage across the province this summer, and as Stacey Hine tells us, the cost of that damage is adding up, with record insurance claims being recorded.
From tornadoes tearing through rural areas to flooding washing out roads and strong winds downing trees and power lines. Severe weather has left a trail of damage across Saskatchewan this summer. One Saskatoon contractor has been busy cleaning up the aftermath, with an uptick in storm-related calls, especially around Prince Albert.
We had an increase in storms early spring, the melt-off, high melt-off, and then a big storm surge that they had in June that had a lot of claims come in that region.
The rising demand for storm repairs comes as insured losses from severe weather continue to climb, according to the Insurance Bureau of Canada.
This is part of an increasing trend of losses in the prairies in Manitoba and Saskatchewan specifically.
The Insurance Bureau says storms on June 9th and 10th, including this tornado in the Oxbow area, caused $840 million in insured losses in Saskatchewan and Manitoba. The organization says that's more than all of the insured losses in the two provinces in 2025, when storms and wildfires caused about $760 million in insured damage.
This event in June does represent a significant increase for the year. Given that we're still only 8 months into the year, there is still time for other events as well, unfortunately.
Even if you're not directly affected by these storms, the Insurance Bureau says the increase in losses can put pressure on insurance premiums. It's calling for immediate action to help reduce the impact of future storms.
All orders of government really do need to take this problem seriously and to start investing and taking immediate steps to reduce Canadians' exposure to these extreme weather events.
The organization says the goal is to help communities better prepare and withstand extreme weather. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Saskatchewan is sending 2,000 lengths of half-inch fire hose to British Columbia. The Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency says it's the province's way of helping as BC battles more than 100 active wildfires. The most destructive is burning in the Okanagan, just west of Summerland. The entire community of Summerland and part of Peachland remain evacuated. A rally in Kamsack is calling for answers into the death of Gerald Straightnose, who died in police custody in June of last year. Sierra D'Souza Butts has that story.
Janice Straightnose says she will not stop speaking out until justice is served.
Very painful
It hurts not getting answers for my brother.
With more than a year passing since the death of Gerald Straightnose, she says her family wants answers, demanding for transparency from Saskatchewan RCMP.
I want to know exactly what happened in there, right from the beginning to the end. Gerald was a very kind, humble man. Yeah, he struggled in addictions, but it didn't mean he was violent or whatever. He was never like that.
Straightnose died less than 48 hours after being taken into custody at the Kamsack RCMP detachment on June 5, 2025. The 61-year-old was unresponsive in his cell where he was pronounced dead. As the death investigation continues by the Saskatchewan Serious Incident Response Team, people from Kisakous First Nation and area are showing their support for Straightnose and his family.
Today signifies that his memory is still alive, his spirit is still strong within us. And we're not going to give up. I mean, we're going to go the distance on this. And there are many others that are facing similar problems.
In an emailed statement to CTV News, the Ministry of Justice says the time it takes to complete a CERT investigation is based on a wide variety of factors, including the amount of evidence that needs to be reviewed, the number of witnesses, and other unique factors, including external reports that may differ from investigation to investigation.
That's the kind of answers I'm seeking. I want to know what happened to him from the moment he walked in till they took him out on that gurney.
The ministry says because the investigation is ongoing, it cannot provide any additional information at this time. Once the investigation is complete, it will be released publicly within 90 days. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Kamsack.
A former leader of Métis Nation Saskatchewan has died. Métis Nation Saskatchewan announced the passing of Louis Gardner. Gardner was a survivor of the Isle Cross Residential School and an advocate for Métis rights. He and others filed a class action lawsuit that reached a settlement with the provincial and federal governments last year. Gardner is being remembered as kind, athletic, and a strong leader. A recent discovery near the Bessborough Hotel is shining a spotlight on Saskatoon's River Valley history. Dozens of matching metal signs were found last month, leaving historians and local experts with questions. Carla Shinkrook has that story.
So they had all these leftover signs.
For decades, Saskatoon's River Valley has been a place where the city's past has literally been buried. And a recent discovery near the Bessborough Hotel is adding another piece to our historic puzzle.
We uncovered the red rose signs bundled together when we were doing some trenching for our trail enhancement project in Kiwanis Memorial Park.
Workers unearthed roughly 100 of these metal signs. All are the same with the Red Rose Coffee Company name and logo on them.
Apparently there's still more in the ground. We just didn't bring them up when we were trenching. A lot of people were walking by and noticed them and were interested to know more about them.
The pile is now dwindling as some signs have been taken. Otterbein has searched and found this sign online in its original form.
An antique shop in Edmonton, for instance, they wanted almost $400 for it.
The Meewasin Valley Authority has consulted local historians, but so far there's no clear answer as to why these signs were specifically discarded here. The only explanation is that this part of the River Valley was once used as a fill area, a dumping ground.
Something that a lot of people don't realize, that a lot of our urban waterfront, even though it looks so natural and beautiful today, it wasn't always like that.
Cowan says the MVA has been finding pieces of the city's past since it began working in the valley in the late 1970s. Among the oldest finds, 2 bison skulls dating back thousands of years, and this 118-year-old anchor which was buried in the river channel.
The ship sank in 1908. The SS City of Medicine Hat is the name of the ship.
Meewasin leads walking tours that explore Saskatoon's sometimes surprising history.
I think everyone goes, wow, I didn't know that. Wow. Now's the best time to explore what Saskatoon has to offer.
Those tours continue into the fall. Carla Shinkrook, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A man from the Moosomin area has been criminally charged over allegedly altering cattle brands. RCMP say 197 head of cattle were inspected during an investigation that began last month. Police found an altered brand was applied over top of the original on half the cattle, while the other half were fraudulently branded with a new brand. A 52-year-old man faces 1 count of altering a cattle brand and 1 count of fraud over $5,000. He's expected to appear in court next month. The Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is looking for people to participate in what they say is the largest health research project in the province. The Health Authority, the Healthy Future Sask project, will study cancer and chronic diseases with the goal of better prevention and care for future generations. One focus includes why some people develop diseases and others do not. Adults between the ages of 30 and 84 with a Saskatchewan health card can join by completing an online questionnaire. Enrollment ends next March. Still to come, the latest on trade talks with the United States, and the first Indigenous winner of Miss Universe Canada speaks out. You're watching CTV News live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. Well, it's crunch time with 1 week to go before a U.S. levy on hundreds of imports takes effect. And Canada's negotiating team is in Washington working out a potential trade deal. CTV's Mike Lecouture is in U.S. Capitol tonight.
The Canadian team spent most of Wednesday huddled inside the Canadian embassy. And CTV News has learned that lead negotiator with the U.S., Janice Charette, warned her American counterpart that federal officials would not be able to control the public or premier's reactions if the U.S. moved forward with 50% tariffs on a swath of Canadian imports in a week's time. Now, it wasn't described as an ultimatum, but sources say U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer understood the reality. There were no face-to-face meetings between the two sides today, but industry leaders remain cautiously optimistic.
I'm hopeful that we're going to get it done.
The president of the Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association is in Washington, making sure he and his American counterparts are on the same page. Flavio Volpe also likes what he's seeing from the negotiations.
That gives me hope because it's demonstrably different than at any time over the last year and a half, and that the Americans are also speaking in real terms. They know the consequence of their trade actions, and that some of those consequences have hurt a major ally.
CTV News has learned that both the Canadian and American trade representatives are aiming to present the layout of a trade deal to U.S. President Donald Trump in the days leading up to the August 19th deadline. One member of the Prime Minister's Advisory Committee on Canada-U.S. Economic Relations believes there could be a path for a deal.
So I think the provinces will see if we can make some progress that will benefit their workers, perhaps on softwood lumber as well, some sort of certainty. It will be worth them pausing or stepping back from their beverage alcohol bans and things like that.
Now, it's unclear if more face-to-face discussions will happen this week, but Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc is remaining in the American capital for now. Mike Lecouture, CTV News, Washington.
Controversial outfits worn by two contestants at the Miss Universe Canada pageant have drawn severe backlash. One contestant wore an Indigenous headdress, a sacred item adorned with eagle feathers traditionally gifted or earned. A second contestant wore mucklucks, boots invented by Indigenous peoples, typically made with animal fur and skin. Soon after, the pageant posted a statement saying, quote, "If any costume caused offense, hurt, or misunderstanding, please know that was never our intention." Miss Universe Canada says it's actively implementing a comprehensive costume guide. The first Indigenous winner of Miss Universe Canada in 2024 called it cultural appropriation and gave the competition's director a chance to apologize.
As an Indigenous woman, I feel that it's my responsibility to also give you an opportunity to say something to the Indigenous community, because yes, there was a statement, and I'm sorry, it goes so far.
Yes,
On behalf of all of us at Miss Universe Canada, it was not our intent to offend anybody, and if we did, we take full responsibility. We will learn from it. We will make it better. We will make it right. We love you.
Accountability to make sure.
Calling Bull said family members of one of the contestants who wore the clothing reached out to her to apologize. Millions of people around the world were looking up at the sky today, taking in a spectacular solar eclipse.
It's kind of mind-boggling to grasp that you're actually looking at the sun that close and it's eclipse.
The best viewing conditions in Canada were in the Maritimes. In St. John's, crowds gathered to watch as the moon covered more than 50% of the sun. In parts of Greenland, Spain, and Iceland, crowds cheered as the day briefly descended into darkness. As for when we can expect the next total solar eclipse in Canada, well, that's expected to happen August 22nd, 2044. A little while away.
A little while away, yeah.
There you go. Did you see anything out there? Well, it was cloudy.
It was cloudy. It was cloudy. And I jumped the gun yesterday when I was talking about the Perseid meteor showers. Tonight is the night that, well, that's going to be best viewing if there's no clouds. But right now it looks pretty cloudy. In fact, overnight last night, the sweet spot is basically between 2 in the morning and 4 in the morning. And I got up and took a look around, kind of cloudy, and then back to bed. Back to Snoozeville. Anyhow, let's take a look and see what we got going on with our numbers. 22 degrees in Saskatoon right now, 20 in Prince Albert, and 19 in the Battlefords, and a little bit of a breeze out there right now in all three communities. A northerly wind, so a bit on the cool side. And it matches the cool temperatures we've been having lately. 23 degrees is our daytime high, so 2 degrees below seasonal. 34, that was the record set in 1940, and that still stands in the record cold temperature that's still in play. 1 degree from 1997. The sun came up at 5:45, and it's going to go down at 8:37.
Coming up, a baseball player thought his cap was lost forever. What happened next was a catch that no one saw coming.
Every stroke tells a story of survival. Thursday, we meet the breast cancer survivors representing Saskatchewan overseas in an international dragon boat event.
Okay, let's take a look through the live lens of Skycam. Well, still a little bit of blue there, but for the most part, cloudy skies, overcast conditions, but the big clouds are on their way as we make our way into tomorrow. So this is what I was talking about. Speaking of clouds, there was often a cloud over this character's head. This is Schleprock from Teenage Pebbles and Bam Bam, and he was a bad luck character, and his catchphrase was, "Wowsy, wowsy, woo, woo." So there you go. So we learned a little something today about Schleprock. All right. Is it bad luck, good luck? Well, it's whatever it's going to be, because this is what Mother Nature is serving up as we make our way into tomorrow. As I said earlier, it's already raining in Alberta. That rain has moved into Saskatchewan as well, and more rain is on the way, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. We're going to recap these numbers for you. 22 degrees in Saskatoon, 20 in Prince Albert, 19 in the Battlefords. The hot spot in the province, that was Yellowgrass at 24 degrees, Indian Head at 7. That was the provincial cold spot. Currently, it is 14 degrees in Lloydminster, 16 in Swift Current, 19 in Moose Jaw, 17 in Regina, 21 in York, and 20 in Estevan. In central parts of the province, temperatures ranging from 17 degrees in Meadow Lake and Waskesiu up to 22 right here in Saskatoon. It's 20 in Hudson Bay and Watrous, 18 in Kindersley, 19 in Wynyard, and 21 in Nipawin. Up north, temperatures in the mid to high teens is what we're dealing with, so no temperatures at 20 degrees or warmer, at least not on this part of our map. And as we make our way down south, a similar situation, kind of cool down the Southland, because of course they've been dealing with the rain showers moving in through the area. Right now, the warmest on this part of the map is that four corners of Last Mountain Regional Park, Indian Head, Broadview, and Melville. They're all sitting at 21 degrees. So here's the futurecast, and we do take a loeth at what's going on in southern Alberta. Some parts of southern Alberta could see up to 80 millimeters of rain. That is to the west of Lethbridge, and it's basically from about Waterton National Park up towards Canmore. So not Calgary, not Lethbridge proper, but yes, it could be a very rainy situation there, and still pretty darn rainy for Saskatchewan. Cloudy and mainly cloudy skies for La Ronge, with temperatures for northern Saskatchewan, La Ronge hitting 21, but most other places in and around that same sort of temperature. It's high teens, low 20s for west central Saskatchewan. A chance of showers, about a 30% 50% chance of showers in Meadow Lake and Spiritwood, Meadow Lake and Kindersley and Rosetown, but the heavier rain is going to start showing up later in the afternoon. Maple Creek could see 10 to 20 millimeters of rain, a similar situation for Leader, not as much for Swift Current on Thursday, and a chance of showers, but on the low end of things for Estevan. And temperatures in that part of the province around 22 degrees, just slightly cooler by a point or two in east central Saskatchewan. Slight chance of showers for the Battlefords, 11 degrees, 19 with cloudy skies. And then as we take a look at the temperatures, getting up to 25 on Sunday for the Battlefords, but then backing off again for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Prince Albert, chance of showers, risk of a thunderstorm, maybe some fog patches showing up tonight, 8 degrees, mainly cloudy skies on Thursday, 20. Cools off on Friday with the rain moving in, maybe 5 to 10 millimeters of rain, and then hanging around the low 20s for the most part for the next 5 days after that. And Saskatoon, fog patches and 8 degrees with partly cloudy skies. We don't anticipate rain, but 21 degrees tomorrow, mainly cloudy skies, winds out of the east at 15. And then the 7-day outlook, well, as you can see, a slight chance of showers later in the day tomorrow, 10 to 15 millimeters of rain when all is said and done by Friday. And then things sort of get better on Saturday. And look at that, Sunday, 26 degrees. That's what? Above seasonal. Huzzah!
This is Fred Heckman, and you're listening to WIBC Radio.
John Hamm has a new TV series on the way, and it was shot in Manitoba. This is the first trailer for American Hostage, a psychological thriller set in the 1970s based on a true story. Hamm portrays a radio reporter brought into the center of a hostage crisis. The 8-episode series will stream on Crave in September.
Don't you know each cloud contains pennies from heaven?
Sir Rod Stewart has called off remaining tour dates following a coronary stent surgery. His representatives say doctors are pleased with the 81-year-old's recovery, but on their advice, he'll take the next 4 weeks off. And Hudson Williams, Andrew Scott, and Chris Rock are just some of the stars set to take the stage at the Toronto International Film Festival. It's all part of the festival's In Conversation With series. The 51st edition of the festival runs September 10th to the 20th.
All right, Jeff, and you were out there talking about cars today and trucks.
And trucks, and let's take a look.
Are you ready to see a street full of lead sleds? Then, hey, Competition Muffler is the place you want to be on Saturday afternoon. And with me today, we have Tyler, Michelle, and Liam. Michelle, you're doing something called Pit Stop, and it's sort of become a tradition.
It has. This is our 4th year that we're doing it, so we're pretty excited.
So it's in connection with Drive and Shine weekend. What goes on here at Competition Muffler?
We have Light of the Prairies that has been with us every year, and they're doing an annual burger fundraiser. We also have Woody from Rock 102 live on location. We have a bunch of swag coming, and we have a really massive raffle that we get lots of prizes donated, and we put all the proceeds to Stuff the Bus and Coats for Kids.
That's great. So a number of charities that are benefiting with Pit Stop here. Tyler, before we run out of time here, what kind of truck you got here?
1954 Mercury M100.
Are you excited about that? Because I'm not sure you are.
Very.
Fair enough. And Liam, what do we have behind us over here?
It's a 1967 GMC C10.
That's a very loud truck when you fire it up. Is that part of the fun?
Stacks make it a little louder, yeah.
Michelle, what are the hours of the Pit Stop when things get rolling on Saturday?
We are running from 9 to 3 that day.
Okay, and if anybody, do people have to sort of enter cars or just come on by?
Just come on by. We also this year have 48th Street for one block to the north of us blocked off, so there'll be lots of parking.
So lots of parking. Come on down and see some amazing trucks and cars. It's all part of the Pit Stop happening here at Competition Muffler on Faithful.
All right, Jeff, now it's time for Picture of the Day.
We do, and we've got a quartet of pictures here. Let's take a look. We'll start off with this one. I love this one. It comes to us from Glenn. Glenn says, "Eye of the Dragon, Jeff. Someone woke the sleeping monster." That is a pretty good shot.
Cool shot.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. From Verla. Verla tells us this is near Viscount and adds, harvest is, this is from Don Roth from Handel. Now, Sheila Roth sent this in. Dan calls this coming in for a landing. That is a great action shot of a male oriole, so way to go. Thank you. And so, yes, I think, like I said, that was from Dan sent that. Took the
I wonder
picture,
if it's an
early.
iPhone. Like, that's pretty impressive.
Okay, All right. Well, it is very impressive. And let's take a look at our next one. Yeah, our next one comes from Harold from Wilkie. I would like to offer this bike for a one-day rental, no charge for a certain weatherman. Okay. Well, you know what? I think I might hurt myself. But Harold, thank you for sharing that image with us. And if you'd like to share an image with us, you can do so by sending it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca. And as always, please put pick of the day in the subject line. It helps us sort through our emails.
Still to come on CTV News, what are the odds of baseball player's hat saved and returned after flying out a window? A baseball player from Windsor, Ontario, thought his cap was gone for good after it flew out a car window on the highway. However, a great catch and a remarkable chain of coincidence led to its safe return. CTV's Sanjay Maru has the details.
Baseball has its share of magical moments, but this one happened off the field. It all starts Saturday when Windsor Stars player Brock Whitson and his parents were heading home from Ottawa. The family was driving along Highway 401 when traffic slowed down and they rolled down the windows.
Brock had his hat sitting on top of his golf clubs near the window, which we didn't realize.
When traffic sped up, the cap flew out. Another driver alerted them, but the family could not stop safely.
Brock said, "I just lost my baseball hat that I need for the Nationals that are coming up in New Brunswick in 2 weeks." He was very disappointed.
But what the family did not realize is that a driver traveling behind them had retrieved it, not knowing whose it was. The next day, that man was at the Vollmer complex in LaSalle, where Windsor Stars coach Ron Smith happened to be wearing the same team cap.
And he says, "I like your hat. I've got one just like it." He says, "and I got a number on the back." I said, "What number?" He said, 30. "Where'd you find it?" He said, "on the 401.
Only the team's personalized caps have player numbers, and Smith knew number 30 belonged to Whitson. A hat lost near Cambridge, picked up by someone from LaSalle, who then crossed paths with Whitson's coach.
What's the chances? 1 in a million or zillion? I don't know.
The cap carries extra meaning, honoring the team's late PA announcer, and is the same one Whitson wore as the Stars won the Ontario Championship.
That person that took the time to get the hat and return it, and it's just amazing.
The family wants to thank that person, but the coach says he only got his first name, Mike, the man who made the ultimate catch on the 401, ensuring number 30's ball cap made it home safe. Sanjay Maru, CTV News.
When we come back, the latest on our Saskatchewan Roughriders, and the Saskatoon Berries are on the verge of a WCBL championship.
Here's what's happening in our community. The Northern Lights Bluegrass Camp and Festival takes place August 10th to 16th at the Nest Creek Festival site near Big River. The Free Dog Day of Summer event returns on Tuesday, August 18th at Mayfair Outdoor Pool. All dogs are welcome to come for a swim, but you must pre-register online, and registration closes on Sunday. You can submit your community event by visiting our website and clicking on Community Calendar, or scan the QR code on your screen.
Okay, time to check out the rural forecast for Thursday, and it looks like temperatures, yes, are going to be below seasonal. In some places are going to be dealing with some rain. There's a good chance of some rain, or I'll say a 30% chance of Meadow Lake and Kindersley during the day. In the evening, there's a much better chance of rainfall in both locations as a system moves through. Otherwise, looking at mainly cloudy skies, temperatures in the low 20s for a number of locations north and south of the Yellowhead. Down south, does it warm up? Not really. Temperatures only 23 for Lumsden, but otherwise that system that we saw brewing up in Alberta and expected to move into Saskatchewan, particularly in the southwestern part of the province, those locations could see up to 20 millimeters of rain, although, as I mentioned, places in Alberta could see up to 80 millimeters of rain. We'll keep our eye on all of that. St. Walburg is one of the places that might see a little rain, particularly tomorrow afternoon, or rather evening. 19 degrees, winds out of the east at 15, and St. Walburg is one of the places where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
The Saskatoon Berries are one win away from going to the WCVL Championship. Ethan Murdoch's two-run home run helped pave the way for the Berries to beat the Miller Express 7-4. The Berries can advance with a win tonight. First pitch just after 7 o'clock. Trevor Harris has become the 12th quarterback in CFL history to break 40,000 career passing yards. Donovan Mace takes a look back.
14 years and 40,000 yards ago.
The best looking young quarterback the Argos have brought in a long time.
Trevor Harris stepped onto the field against the Saskatchewan Roughriders for the first time in his CFL career.
Harris off to the right, caught underneath, turning it up. Good yardage and a first down.
And with this completion to Deshaun Mims Friday night, Harris becoming just the 12th quarterback to throw for more than 40,000 yards in the Canadian Football League.
I'm really thankful that I get to do this, and to join the 40K club's pretty cool. I think it just means maybe I'm getting a little older, though.
I had no idea until the end of the game. My friends said they're going to make it into a trivia question about who caught Trevor's 40,000-yard pass.
From Toronto to Ottawa.
That puts Trevor Harris over 5,000 yards passing for the season.
Edmonton and Montreal before landing in Saskatchewan. Harris has played 197 regular season games in the CFL, winning his first Grey Cup as a starter and earning game MVP honors last season at 39 years old.
Honestly, sometimes I feel like I'm just getting started.
Now 40. He continues to climb the CFL's passing leaders list, less than 200 yards from passing Hall of Famer Tracy Ham for 11th all-time.
All the ups and downs and ebbs and flows, and to be able to do that on a professional level is something that just blows my mind. But again, I just try and stay focused on the small things.
Only 12 people in the history have thrown for 40,000 yards.
In true Trevor fashion, he took that football and was looking to give away Offensive Player of the Game ball. I said, no, buddy, that's your ball. You pick another one to give to somebody else.
I'm really thankful that I get to be the quarterback of this organization. I never, ever take it for granted.
Now, in addition to reaching 40,000, Harris is on the brink of climbing up the Riders' all-time passing list. He has 11,742 passing yards in 4 seasons in green and white and needs just 110 to pass Tom Burgess for 5th all-time in Saskatchewan Rough Rider history. Donovan May, CTV News, Regina.
And welcome to another edition of X's and O's with West Cates. Riders taking on the Hamilton Tiger Cats in Steeltown this week. And Wes, a lot of the talk, of course, has been Hamilton, their play going downhill since Bo Levi Mitchell got hurt. They're going to be facing Mr. Frost at quarterback once again. Didn't look too bad against BC, but, I mean, they didn't have no running attack. It was all on his shoulders, basically.
Yeah, everybody's kind of getting a crack over in Hamilton. Bo Levi went down. You know, we saw Trey Ford. He was looking okay. Then he kind of started doing too much, and they throw Harrison Frost in there, and he looked terrible in relief of Trey. But last week he looked okay. I wasn't too impressed, though. He was doing better at protecting the football. He did have 1 interception, but they really didn't move the ball well. Basically, Kenny Lawler got some looks. He kind of tried to get the ball to all his receivers, but they really didn't do much outside of a couple of decent plays. And then they didn't even have their run game going. So until their offense can really get to chugging along and actually look threatening, maybe have some bigger plays, I'm not too worried about what they're going to do. And then defensive-wise, I think the Riders have shown no matter who lines up at receiver, as long as that O-line is back there, you know, protecting our guy, we'll be good to go.
Yeah, when Dolagala started for the Hamilton Tiger Cats at Mosaic Stadium when the Riders beat them pretty handily, yeah, they could not throw the ball against the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. And I just think that this defense, they're kind of showing a little bit more. I know it was Ottawa last week. A lot of people see them as the worst, if not, they haven't won a game, they're the worst. But they look good. They were able to make the stops when they needed to be and finally got that interception from their secondary.
Yeah, for sure. And I think sometimes when you have injuries and you have guys moving around, it actually levels up everybody's kind of focus and just understanding of the defense or the offense because, okay, now we got guys moving around, so guys are being forced to play different positions, but they also already understand the position they were playing. Then you're a little less anxious about getting in because you're like, well, I'm going to get a chance because it seems like everybody's getting a chance. So I think even though there's been some hurdles and some bumps and bruises that have gone along with that, it's helped the secondary and helped the Riders' defense. So I think the fact that guys have had to move around and adjust is making everybody just a little more aware of what everybody's role is. And then that's helping the defense gel and make more plays. So I'm excited about that. And Trevor Harris seems to find a way to get to 350, 400 yards every time he's out there. So, yeah, as long as they keep sprinkling in some run, where they can, I feel like this Riders offense is going to put up enough points to kind of protect the defense as well.
This was the defense, though, that really gave Harris trouble. He only got just over 200 yards passing against the Hamilton Tiger-Cats here at Mosaic Stadium. So what do you feel they need to do? They obviously showed that their receivers that are filled in for guys like Schaefer, Baker, and Emelis can do the job, but what do you need to see from them here on the road?
Well, I mean, Tomas Bertrand Houdon did come in and was really efficient, as he always is. So I think more of him and Conley just to, maybe have Hamilton worry about that, maybe bring some guys down into the box just to make it a little easier for Trevor Harris and his receivers. And then we did see some no huddle with Trevor and those young receivers, which I think when you can just call simple plays and get the ball to guys and not have them thinking in the huddle, too worried about what their route combinations are, I think that helps the young receivers. So as the receivers get healthy and the young ones get more acclimated to being in there, I think that the offense is just going to get better and better every week. And I think more of Trevor's not doing much against Hamilton last time was just because it was earlier in the season, just trying to get your land legs under you, so to speak. So I think they'll be fine. I think he's excited and determined to kind of put his stamp on this season and keep putting up big numbers.
Well, if they win this game, they'll be 7-2, and Ottawa and Hamilton, probably considered the two worst teams in the league right now, they'll be done with them in the schedule. So it would be nice to be sitting at 7-2. We'll see what they do and get you prepped for the next game on another edition of X's and O's.
Coming up, Lululemon's new bag is turning heads. Then a Calgary teen's impressive build.
Select Hair Services brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Well, Lululemon has released a new bag, and it's getting a lot of attention for its size. The bag can hold up to 80, it's pretty big. It can hold up to 80 liters of stuff, and people have a lot to say about the size of this thing. One reviewer wrote they could fit the Eiffel Tower, Colosseum, and many other monuments in it, with the downside that she had to check it at the airport because it was too big as a personal item. So there you go.
Yikes.
It's all the drama.
Mm-hmm.
A Calgary teenager has snagged seats to the Flames home opener thanks to his efforts to create the city's new arena entirely out of Lego.
Wow.
Well, I love Lego, and I love the city of Calgary, and I'm a big Flames fan. And when I saw the new renderings for the new arena, I decided to take it on as like a passion project.
16-year-old Cruz is a huge Flames fan. He used renderings, as you heard, of the new arena for reference. The attention to detail even extends to the outside, where he used an LED strip to recreate the lighting. In all, he figures this took about 6,000 pieces. Well, the team is thrilled. They're sending him to the home opener against Seattle on October 1st. Cruz is hoping this display will go on somewhere public, and I think it should.
Why not right there at the Flames home arena?
Yeah, I like it. The partial eclipse isn't the only event that has people looking up. The Perseid meteor shower hits its peak tonight. Cypress Hills Interprovincial Park and Grasslands National Park are noted as ideal locations to watch the celestial show. The streaks of light caused by stellar debris entering Earth's atmosphere should be visible to the naked eye in areas where cloud cover doesn't get in the way.
Wah, wah.
So we might not see much.
It's not going to be great in Saskatchewan because of the clouds. So. No. That's the way it goes.
Well,
that's the way it goes.
Any optimism? No optimism.
Yeah, no optimism. Well, I'm just saying, here we got some pictures. Okay. I want to get caught up. Okay, so once again, just credit where credit is due. This is from Dan from Handel. Sheila sent this to us and this one comes to us from Verla. Verla tells us it's near Viscount and adds, harvest is near as the barley ripens. The clouds stand out too. A great harvest shot there. Thank you, Verla, for sending that in.
And thanks for making it right, Jeff. You got
That's right. That's what we try and do around here.
Some good boots on the ground journalism here. Good night.